Good morning. Welcome to 모닝스페셜. 여러분 안녕하세요. 8월 14일 수요일 최수진의 모닝스페셜입니다. It's always a proud moment when we hear about achievements by other Koreans on international stages. And this particular actor, who's already a household name in Korean cinema, has raised the bar with his captivating charisma and outstanding acting skills. Setting a new milestone globally, it's none other than Song Kang-ho. 송강호, 우리에겐 아주 익숙한 이름이죠. 배우 송강호 씨가 올해 제72회 로카르노 국제영화제에서 아시아 배우로서는 처음으로 Excellence Award를 받았습니다. Excellence Award라는 상은 독창적인 재능으로 영화 세계를 풍성하게 하는 데 기여한 배우에게 헌정하는 상인데요. 역대 수상자로는 Susan Sarandon, John Malkovich, Isabelle Huppert 등이 있습니다. 이 특별한 시간이 지금 이 시간에도 세계 곳곳에서 열정을 불태우고 고난의 길을 마다하지 않는 수많은 예술가에게 감동의 시간으로 기억됐으면 좋겠다. 지난 12일 송강호 씨가 밝힌 수상 소감이었습니다. Indeed, there are some people who were born to become role models, and Song is definitely a figure to follow, whether you're into acting, cinema, or just a huge fan, as I am. With that in mind, let me give you a quiz question here. Song Kang-ho also made many headlines as the star of this acclaimed movie that took the top prize at Cannes this year. The movie was 1번 기생충, 2번 회충약. 오늘도 청취자 여러분의 많은 참여 기다리고 있습니다. 퀴즈 정답 보내주신 분들 중에 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 쿨링 스포츠 젤 보내드리겠습니다. 또 여러분의 소식과 소감 그리고 방송 중 궁금한 질문 있으시면 보내주세요. 짧은 문자는 50원, 긴 문자는 100원에 샵 1045고요. 무료 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스 이용도 가능합니다. And let's take this chance to share your favorite movies. If you have a favorite actor or actress, or even a favorite line from a movie, let us know what that is. Okay, then let's kick off today's show with today's global headlines. 세계 각국 언론사들의 어떤 헤드라인이 올라왔는지 살펴보는 시간입니다. Touch Global Headlines.
Demonstrators in Hong Kong resumed airport sit-in protests on Tuesday, causing chaos as flights were suspended for a second straight day.
홍콩 시위대가 지난 12일에 이어 13일 또다시 홍콩 국제공항을 점거하고 시위를 벌이면서 항공대란이 이틀째 벌어졌습니다.
The Foreign Ministry has announced it will actively deal with Japan's planned discharge of radioactive water from its Fukushima plant.
외교부가 일본 후쿠시마 원전 오염수 방출 문제에 적극적으로 대응해 나가겠다고 밝혔습니다.
Russia has confirmed that the 5 scientists who died in a blast last Thursday were working on the development of a new weapon.
지난 8일 러시아 해군 훈련장에서 발생한 폭발 사고로 숨진 과학자 5명이 신무기 개발에 참여하고 있었다고 당국이 밝혔습니다.
More than 200 people have been killed in severe monsoon floods and landslides across western and southern India.
인도 남부 지역을 중심으로 홍수 피해가 확산하면서 사망자 수가 200명을 넘어섰습니다.
The French public is calling for tougher regulations on electric scooters as accidents continue to rise.
프랑스에서 전동 스쿠터 사고가 잇따르자 시민들이 규제 강화를 요구하고 나섰습니다.
North Korea has reportedly committed cyber attacks on at least 17 countries, with South Korea suffering the most attacks.
북한이 사이버 해킹으로 최소 17개국에서 20억 달러를 탈취했고 그중 한국이 최대 피해국이라는 보도가 나왔습니다. And for the headlines and more, I'm joined by Walter 선생님. Good morning.
Well, good morning to you, and I'll say to all of our listeners and any viewers out there, a very, for us in Seoul at least, tranquil good morning.
Yes, I love the skies this morning. We have a little window in our studio. That's why I look towards my left
Yes.
as I speak about the weather.
Sure, of course.
And it looks a lot nicer than it did a few days ago.
And we do have the camera straight ahead too, but the
that's
camera
true.
doesn't always give an accurate picture. But I do fear that this may be the calm before the storm, because I do think some areas of the country will be receiving some rain
Tomorrow
from the
or
latest typhoon that's coming through.
That's right. Today or tomorrow, we may be receiving a bit of rain once again. But nonetheless, right now it's looking lovely.
Certainly here in Seoul and the Ilsan region, so enjoy it while you can.
Yes. Well, our opening today was about Song Kang-ho, the great actor. I like to call him the great actor because he really is in my heart.
Yeah, sure.
And he's a great role model for a lot of people here in Korea. He's now one of the new recipients of the Excellence Award at the Locarno International Film Festival, that is. And he shares that award with many people in the past, like Susan Sarandon, John Malkovich, and so on. He is really one of the greats.
I think the first two Korean movies I saw starred Mr. Song. I think JSA and Memories of Murder from director Bong Joon-ho, of course.
Yeah, great movies, great director, but of course great actor as well. They all go hand in hand, and I'm very happy to share this news with our listeners today. Okay, let's go on to our headlines. If you'd like to hear those headlines once again, you can do so by visiting our website. 방금 들으신 헤드라인은 모닝스페셜 홈페이지 헤드라인 다시 듣기에서 무료로 들으실 수 있습니다. 자, 그러면 헤드라인 한번 볼까요?
Headline number 1. Demonstrators in Hong Kong resumed airport sit-in protests on Tuesday, causing chaos as flights were suspended for a second straight day.
범죄인 인도 법안에 반대하는 홍콩 시위대가 공항점거 시위를 재개해 항공대란 우려가 커지고 있다는 소식이고요. 이틀째 이어졌습니다.
Yes, indeed, it is the second straight day for flights to be suspended at the airport. However, it is actually the fifth consecutive day of protests at the airport. And of course, the protests overall in Hong Kong are now entering their 10th week. So there's been much going on there indeed.
Yesterday morning, we reported that flights had resumed and the protests were seemingly dissipating, as it were. But that was not the case because they returned. What happened?
That is true. So as we reported yesterday, indeed, operations had resumed early on Tuesday morning, but a couple of factors influenced matters here. Number one was, of course, the massive backlog of canceled flights that needed still to be processed, as well as, of course, we had the protesters coming back in and causing more delays that way as well.
The Hong Kong International Airport is a major aviation hub, as many people already know. And roughly speaking, about 1,100 flights take off and land at the airport every day. And according to some reports, about 300 of those flights, at least, have been cancelled over the past 2 days.
Yeah, certainly. So we're, looking at a very high percentage of cancellations. They are causing potentially a lot of inconvenience, not only inconvenience, but some people are also pointing to the possible disruption of business. Hong Kong is also, of course, known as a financial hub and certainly a gateway to China. There are people who are concerned about its effects on that as well. And the demonstrators seem to be aware of this, at least on some level, because several of their signs, there have been reports that the protesters, demonstrators are holding banners that say something akin to, "Sorry for the inconvenience, we are
Right.
fighting for the future of our home."
Right. But these protests have actually been going on for weeks and weeks. Not at the airport initially, but why did they choose to go to the airport? I guess that's to raise awareness, really, across the world.
Well, you're exactly right. So the protests have been going on now, we said, entering their 10th week. But the protesters, the demonstrators have been looking for ways to, I think, number one, affect the government a little bit more than they had been doing so in the past. And number two, as you said, raise attention on a more global stage. Because now, of course, when an international airport is canceling flights, naturally that's going to make international news.
Absolutely. 전 세계를 상대로 어떤 파급력을 높이기 위해서 시위대가 이제 공항에서 시위를 하고 있다라는 게 전문가들의 분석이고요. 반응을 한번 보겠습니다. What's been the response?
Well, I think interestingly, we could start with the response from Carrie Lam, the chief executive of Hong Kong. She was making a public appearance, one of her first actually since the demonstrators regulators succeeded in shutting down the airport. And in a nutshell, she said that it will take a long time for Hong Kong to recover. However, she did insist that the authorities were still capable of managing the situation.
I watched that press conference take place, and it did seem on some level as if she was avoiding some of the more direct questions, like, are you being directed by Beijing to do certain things or say certain things? She did not respond directly to those, but she did say, as you said, that everything will be controlled in time, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it will be peaceful. Responses from around the world have been a bit different.
Yes, indeed. So we have the response there from Miss Lam. There's also been a response from Mr. Chris Patten, that was Hong Kong's last British governor, and he warned that Chinese intervention would be catastrophic. So, of course, that is what many people are asking. Will China indeed get involved? There were some videos going around showing presumably some personnel troop moving vehicles moving close to the area. And, of course, that's what perhaps prompted this reaction from the former British governor of Hong Kong.
네, 중국, 미국, 그리고 어제는 이제 캐나다까지 비슷한 입장을 취하고 있는 것 같습니다. 이번 홍콩 시위에 대해서 일국 양제, 그러니까 한 나라 두 체제의 이런 원칙을 잘 지켜야 한다라는 입장인 것 같습니다. Let's go on to headline number 2.
The Foreign Ministry has announced it will actively deal with Japan's planned discharge of radioactive water from its Fukushima plant.
외교부가 일본 후쿠시마 원전 오염수 방출 문제에 적극적으로 대응해 나가겠다고 밝혔습니다.
So although we're hearing more about the matter now, this actually does trace its roots back a little bit further than just recent days. As a matter of fact, Seoul had proposed that Tokyo hold bilateral and multilateral talks over this matter since the Korean government became aware in August of 2018 of Tokyo's plan to discharge the water.
And this all comes in line with the recent, I suppose, disputes, you might call it, between South Korea and Japan. This seems to be the latest card that Korea is using in order to maneuver Tokyo, if you will.
Yes, indeed, that is true. There are many cards, I think, now in that deck. It seems to be getting bigger and bigger. And as a matter of fact, another big one on the horizon, of course, is the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And recently, when one of Korea's ministers was questioned about the possibility of South Korea boycotting those Olympics, the spokesperson did avoid a direct answer.
네, 그렇습니다. 이제 도쿄올림픽이 얼마 남지 않았죠. 그래서 우리 정부는 어제 후쿠시마 오염수 방출 문제에 대해서 적극적인 대응을 하겠다, 이런 공식 입장을 밝힘으로써 어떤 일본에 대한 압박 카드를 내민 것이 아니냐, 이런 분석이 나오고 있습니다. What more do we know?
Well, the headline mentioned that South Korea is mulling over its, options, and a couple of the options that it is mulling over is raising the matter at the IAEA General Conference that is to be held in Vienna next month. In addition, South Korea is looking again at raising the issue at the South Korea, China, Japan top regulators meeting on nuclear safety, and that is set to take place in China a little bit later in November.
Well, we'll have to wait a few months for the results of those. Moving on to headline number 3.
Russia has confirmed that the 5 scientists who died in a blast last Thursday were working on the development of a new weapon.
지난 8일 러시아 해군 훈련장에서 발생한 폭발 사고로 숨진 과학자 5명이 신무기 개발에 참여하고 있었다고 당국이 밝혔습니다.
So it's not only the potential of a new weapon being developed that has many people and many experts worried, but it's also the type of weapon that it may be, with some fearing that it is a nuclear weapon. There are also those, of course, then fearing that this latest explosion could have released radiation in the area. Nevertheless, the 5 scientists who died were buried in the city of Sarav, which has been known as a closed city since a nuclear research facility was opened there in the 1940s. Anyone wanting to go to that city actually does need special permission, as it is surrounded by fences and patrolled by the military.
Right, and Russia had been boasting for quite some time that they were capable of creating some sort of weapon or missile, as you said, and it does seem to be the case that research was ongoing for that, although they didn't call it a weapon. I think they called it a special material, but that's what they call these weapons in Russia, as we know. 러시아 언론에 따르면은요, 어제 이제 연결식에서 러시아 측에서 새로운 특수 제품 시험 과정에 있었던 과학자들이었다. 이렇게 얘기를 했는데요. 이 새로운 특수 제품이라는 표현이 사실은 군사 장비를 일컫는 러시아식의 표현이라고 합니다. 그래서 이제 무기로 해석을 하고 있는 거죠.
Yes, indeed. You can go back all the way to 2017 when President Putin did say that they had a device of unlimited range and one that was invincible against all existing and prospective missile defense and counter-air defense systems. So that was even a couple of years ago.
네. 미국 당국뿐만 아니라 전문가들은 이 이제 특수 제품이라고 하는 신무기가 아마 대륙간 순항 미사일 개발이 아니었을까 이렇게 보고 있습니다. And Russia has also said that it won't stop. It will continue its research with other scientists.
Yes, indeed. So in spite of this recent setback in the explosion, they have indeed said that they will continue.
Yes. Let's go on to our next headline.
Headline number 4. More than 200 people have been killed in severe monsoon floods and landslides across western and southern India.
인도 남부 지역을 중심으로 홍수 피해가 확산하면서 사망자 수가 200명을 넘어섰습니다.
So yes, indeed, the headline does say more than 200. The most recent number that I could find had that at 202. However, of course, we do tragically fear that that number could increase. We do also know that over 1.2 million people have been moved to relief camps in the area, so that should certainly give people an indication of the size and scope of this. This has happened, as the headline says, in western and southern India, but one of the main sectors or jurisdictions affected here is the southern tourist hotspot of Kerala, and that only last year again was hit by its worst floods in almost a century, which at that time left 450 people dead. So we're seeing in just last year and now again this year very, very heavy rains causing very high death tolls.
And that record from last year is something that we don't want to break or go close to at all, but we are seeing over a week of rain and floods, as you said, in India, and the count is being updated as we speak. So we are seeing conflicting reports, but more, I suppose not conflicting, but they are being updated as we speak. From what I found, Hindustan Times says 227 people have been found dead. That number again is likely to go up, unfortunately. 지금까지 227명이 숨졌다고 힌두타임스 등 현지 매체는 보도를 하고 있습니다. 외신에 따라서는 이 숫자가 조금 상이하기도 하지만 이제 계속해서 집계가 되고 있기 때문에 숫자는 올라갈 것으로 보여지고요. 이재민은 100만 명 이상 발생했다고 외신은 보도하고 있습니다. 지금 일주일째 폭우와 홍수가 이어지고 있는 상황입니다. And there are lots of cultural sites, UNESCO designated sites there as well being flooded, so that's quite worrisome.
Indeed it is, and if it's any indication again to the size of it, local emergency personnel and troops from the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force have been deployed for search, rescue, and relief operations. So again, I think that speaks to the size and scope of the issue.
Right.
And it's not only the people, but of course, as you mentioned, also the historical and cultural sites that are also in danger.
We hope for a speedy recovery there. We will go on now to headline number 5.
The French public is calling for tougher regulations on electric scooters as accidents continue to rise.
프랑스에서 전동 스쿠터 사고가 잇따르자 시민들이 규제 강화를 요구하고 나섰습니다.
So the French government is actually meeting with a group of people who have been injured by these electric scooters as it looks to try to bring in some regulation on those scooters. Victims of these scooter accidents did present their demands for stricter rules to end what they call anarchy in the streets caused by these electric scooters. There are said to be some 20,000 that are available in Paris alone, and that number of 20,000 available in Paris is said to be more scooters than is in all of the United States. And these are, of course, these little electric sort of kickboard type scooters.
Right. And within the past 4 months or so, there's been about 3 deaths directly related to these scooters, and more accidents, of course, in between as well. But we're looking at fatal accidents where deaths have occurred, and people are saying now is the time, it's actually already quite late, to put some sort of government action in force to stop that.
That is true. One of the most recent fatalities was a 30-year-old man who had been riding one of those electric scooters on a highway, not wearing a crash helmet as well. The scooters, for what it's worth, are banned from traveling, of course, on highways. Nevertheless, he was there. The victims group that is looking to meet with the government to draw up some regulations does have data saying that up to 170 people per day are suffering injuries as a result of these electric scooters.
네, 전동 스쿠터 사망 사고가 지난 넉 달간 3건이 있었다고 합니다. 이렇게 최근에 전동 스쿠터로 인해서 사망사고 또 부상사고가 급증하면서 이제 안전대책이 나와야 될 시기다라는 목소리가 커지고 있는 거고요. 프랑스에서는 실제로 전동 스쿠터 이용자들이 굉장히 늘고 있다고 해요. 그래서 파리 같은 경우만 해도 한 전동 스쿠터 공유회사의 집계를 보면은 작년 말까지 15,000대가량의 스쿠터가 운영되고 있는데 올해 말까지는 4만 대로 늘어날 거라고 합니다. Let's go on to our final headline.
Headline number 6, North Korea has reportedly committed cyber attacks on at least 17 countries, with South Korea suffering the most attacks.
북한이 사이버 해킹으로 최소 17개국에서 20억 달러를 탈취했고 그중 한국이 최대 피해국이라는 보도가 나왔습니다.
So this news comes to us by way of the United Nations, and the UN is investigating at least 35 cases of cyber attacks in some 17 countries, upon which, of course, South Korea has been suffering the most attacks. Of that total of 35 cases to which the UN is investigating, 10 of them are related to South Korea. That does top the list. Second on that list, with only a total of 3, is India, and coming in tied for third place is Bangladesh and Chile, each with 2 attacks.
And a significant shift, it seems, in terms of why they do this is in the past it was more to do with information, but now it's money, obviously.
That is indeed true. Past attacks had been either for information or simply the disruption of services. There were some banking services that were thought to be disrupted because of that cyber attack, as well as perhaps electrical services. But these days, you're right, they are focusing on cryptocurrency exchanges for these cyber attacks. And as a matter of fact, the AP and other media outlets have said that North Korea has raised up to $2 billion illegally through its cyber activities targeting these cryptocurrency exchanges.
네, 전문가들은 이 해킹의 목적이 금전적인 것이다라는 게 특히 주목할 만한 점이다라고 얘기를 했습니다. Well, those are our headlines for this morning. Let's remind our listeners of the quiz.
Our quiz today takes us to the world of movies. Song Kang-ho also made many headlines as the star of this acclaimed movie that took the top prize at Cannes this year. This movie was blank. Is that number 1, 기생충, or number 2, 회충약?
네, 영어로는 parasite였는데요. 그게 우리말로는 뭔지를 묻는, 보통은 이제 우리말의 답을 알고 계시고 영어로 골라주시는 건데 오늘은 반대입니다. 영화 제목을 골라주시면 되겠습니다. 1번 기생충, 2번 회충약, 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045고요. 무료 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스 이용도 가능합니다. 노래 듣고 와서 뉴스 포커스 볼게요. This is The Scorpions with No One Like You.